Hi, good evening. Thanks, everybody. These are such great talks. I'm so excited to see some friends and colleagues and an individual who shares one of our committee members on our PhD journey. It's lovely. I just want to share with everybody, you've probably seen some of us at the front started this, but instead of applause, we've been doing this. So tonight you've all learned a new ASL sign. This is applause in ASL, and it's a really powerful way to respect the need for people to have sensory kind of space where they're not overwhelmed by the clapping. So I'm Jewel Smith, and I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically about a particular area of disability tonight. It's the topic of my PhD studies, which is mothering and disability, mothering and human rights. Eventually, it's my hope that all disabled mothers will achieve full citizenship as laid out in the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, Article 23. If you want to take the time to read that another time, I'm not going to get into the details. For over 15 years, I worked to advocate for equality and inclusion of all persons with disabilities in all aspects of their lives. And I've come to believe that a key barrier to inclusion and full citizenship is the paradigm or the model from which we operate, each of us. That is, how we understand and interact with individuals and citizens who are different than the assumed majority, who are different than the circle that we operate within. And I just want to thank Shelley for opening up the conversation of models earlier with talking about the medical model. First, I'd like to just invite each of you to take a moment and consider your thoughts on disability. Can you just reflect and consider how you feel about people with disabilities? So what were your thoughts? Did you think about the Paralympics? Did you think about a story of someone you read about or met who was heroic, who did something incredible despite having a disability? Did you feel pity for someone you read about who had an injury that was unexpected, perhaps on the job, that changed their life, or a friend who suddenly found themselves living with MS or another disability? Did you ever think that perhaps you could never live your life that way? Did you think about how relieved you are that medical aid in dying is now an option in Canada? Or did you think about a family member, your child, your friend, yourself? So holding those thoughts in your mind, I'm going to talk about the two models of disability that I'm working from and comparing at the moment. One is the charity model and one is the human rights model. Models have the ability to peer using a lens at the practice, discrimination, barriers, attitudes, care, and the impact of the body on lived experience of disability. A model can help decipher and direct how other theories inform our understanding of policy, legislation, and practice. The charity model sees disability as something to be sorry for, a tragedy that we all can generously donate money towards and feel better about ourselves. And it has a number of direct impacts on the lives of people with disabilities. The charity model has created a system of bureaucracy that's difficult to navigate for many. And it's an ultimate barrier for people with disabilities. On the other end of the models is the human rights model that argues that people with disabilities are full rights holders and citizens, and as such deserve to have all the same rights and access as each individual in society. So why did I focus my research on disabled mothers? I embarked on this particular topic because I'm a third-generation disabled mother. My biological mother and her mother before her were born with genetic conditions that caused blindness. I have a different disability, but each of us in our own way through different generations of Canada's systems and laws have experienced barriers. This isn't the only reason why I focused on this topic, though. I believe that we are better people when we have diversity in our communities. That can be diversity of culture, education, sexuality, ability, disability. And third, I believe that we each fundamentally have a right to enjoy the full spectrum of human experience, including our right to have and be part of a family and to raise children of our own if we'd like. Often when I share the topic of my PhD with people who perhaps don't come from the disability community, the first question I'm asked is, which people with disabilities? I think that sometimes people focus on their own idea of capacity and who should be raising a family, rather than what are the barriers inherent in our systems that prevent people from becoming mothers who maybe wanted to, or even just sharing parenting, being part of our global community and being part of raising children. So I'd like to challenge each of you to think about a personal assumption you've had about disability, and in particular about disabled mothers. And I'd like to ask you to think about shifting one of those thoughts tonight. I assume that because you're here, you're all interested in inclusion, and this is maybe an area you haven't thought often enough about. Did the speakers tonight change your mind on anything? Do you have questions? What would you do to create a better and a more inclusive community for disabled mothers that you encounter? I believe that true change occurs every day in our encounters with individuals and with other community members and in the conversations that we have. So tomorrow in your work, if you encounter a mother with disabilities, how would you be more inclusive? Would you think about any assumptions you have? I think it's important to also always assume that people with disabilities are the experts in our own lives. If you're not sure about something, we don't mind just, asking us a question. If we don't want to engage in the question, we'll just tell you. We're good at that. But sometimes it's a lot easier just to say, hey, how can I make sure this space is more inclusive? How can I make sure that your experience as a mother is as fulsome as any other member of our society? And on that note, I look forward to any questions and keep an eye on my research. I'm really hoping to have a full rough draft of my dissertation in a year, and I'm just about to embark on interviewing mothers, and I'm so excited to hear their stories. Thank you.